Okay, so in this video we're going to be showing you how to install an Max 21TM on a Tmaxx. This is a Tmaxx 3.3, but it's pretty much the same for any other Tmaxx truck. And the OS engine, with this got the Tmaxx manifold or exhaust header, is part number 12240, and this has the Tmaxx exhaust manifold that you need to be able to run the OS 21TM on the Tmaxx. So let's open this up. I'm going to be doing a separate video about breaking this engine in. I've never done a break-in video before on an engine because everybody's got their own way of doing it, and I don't know. Everybody's got their own opinions. But anyways, I think I'm going to do a break-in video about this. So here we got the Tmaxx exhaust manifold or header, whatever you want to call it. We got the exhaust seal and the exhaust spring. We got the glow plug, because the glow plug does not come inside the engine. You got to put the glow plug in. Let me get my phone set up. So here's the engine. See, actually, I forgot. I've already taken this engine apart and done an oil bath on it and a cleanup when I first opened it. And I do that to all my brand new engines before I break them in, and I forgot I went ahead and put the glow plug in it. This is just the stock glow plug, the LC3, but I put an LC4 in it. Anyways, so here's the engine. Let me get all this situated and we'll get into it. Okay, so we have our engine. We got the exhaust manifold, the exhaust spring, and the exhaust seal. So we got that taken care of. Then you're going to need an air filter, of course. You're going to need the clutch bell with the clutch bell bearings in it. You're going to need a clutch assembly. You're going to need a flywheel. You're going to need the flywheel collet, a flywheel nut. You're going to need the E-clip that holds the clutch bell on. You're going to need the PTFE washer that goes on before the E-clip, just like the Tmaxx engines. You're going to need the pull start or the easy start, whichever one you want. You're going to need the one-way bearing for the easy start or pull start. You're going to need the PTFE washer that goes on the starter shaft before the one-way bearing. And you don't have to have this, but this is a fuel inlet clamp, and I'm going to show you why you might need this here in a minute. It's because the fuel inlet on the OS 11K carb is real short, and the fuel line don't have a whole lot to stick on there, and it's easy for the fuel line to pop back off. So that's why it's nice to have a fuel line clamp. You stick it on. I'll show you how to do it. It holds the fuel line on better where it won't slip off as easy. Gonna need some thread locker for the engine mount screws. Gonna need a zip tie for the exhaust manifold coupler to hold it on. And of course, you're going to need your engine mount screws and your easy start or pull start screws to hold it onto the engine. So I think we went over everything. So now let's get to putting this together and showing you what you got to do. So since this is going on a Tmaxx, you see how the carburetor is slightly tilted this way a little bit. You want that to be tilted that way, just like that right there. So looking at it this direction, you want the carburetor to be slanted just a little bit like that if it's going on a Tmaxx. You also want the throttle arm right here to be slightly angled just like that right there for the Tmaxx. And you want to make sure you got the one with the ball tip. And that's for the Tmaxx. The Revo has a straight tip. Now what we need to do is this fuel inlet. We need to loosen the high-speed needle housing and turn that fuel inlet to the inside area right there in between the engine and the carburetor, because that's how it's set up on a Tmaxx. So let's get that done. So all we're going to do is just grab a hold of it and loosen it. And now we're going to loosen it to the point that we can push that fuel inlet all the way around to the inside Now once we get it where we want it, hold on, let me get something. To keep the fuel inlet from moving while we're tightening it back up, I'm going to stick the small Allen key or hex driver into the fuel inlet and hold it in the position where we want it while we tighten the high-speed needle housing back up. Okay, so that's good. Now let's see if the fuel line will go on. Well, there we go. The fuel line's on, so that's good. We got it set correctly. Okay, next, what we want to do, and guys, before you break this engine in, I made a video about what you should do to it. I think it's called Very Important Before Break-In, or what you should do to your engine before breaking it in. It's basically called an oil bath. It's where you get the brand new engine before you crank it and break it in for the first time. You take it apart, make sure there's no debris or trash inside, and oil everything real good. Even though these are pretty decently well oiled from the factory, but some engines are not. I oiled it real good, and I've already done all that. So you might want to do that and watch that video before you do everything we're doing now. But now what we want to do is put the starter on. So get the PTFE washer that goes onto the starter shaft. Stick it on. And what I like to do, give me 1 second. After I stick the PTFE washer on, I like to get a little bit of bearing oil and stick around it and go around that back plate bushing. And this is the perfect time to oil your one-way bearing. These one-way bearings, they're supposed to be oiled regularly. This one-way bearing right here is over 2 years old. It's gone through several engines and it still works perfectly because I clean and oil it regularly, just like Tmaxx says to in the manual. So we're going to oil the one-way bearing. It's the perfect time to oil it if you ain't oiled yours in a while. When you don't oil these guys, that starter shaft, the whole time you're running your engine, that starter shaft is spinning inside this one-way bearing. And inside the one-way bearing, see all those little needles inside the one-way bearing? Those needles get wore out. That's what grabs a hold of the starter shaft and turns the engine over and cranks your motor on when you pull start it or electric start it. And when you don't oil them, they get wore out and it wears your starter shaft out. Then it starts slipping, and that's when your one-way bearing goes bad. So guys, I'm going to be using an easy start because I like using easy starts when I'm doing a brand new motor because it's just easier for me than having to pull start it a bunch and fight with the pull start whenever you're trying to tune a new engine for break-in. So now we're going to stick the easy start onto the engine. And actually, hold on. Back up, guys. Let's go ahead and get that exhaust header on first. So we're going to stick the exhaust seal on because this is going to make it a pain in the butt if we don't do this now. And we're going to get the exhaust spring, stick it through there, and hold one side out. And now we're going to put it in the hole on the exhaust header. Put the exhaust header on the exhaust seal. Twist it till it goes down good. Now you want to come around here to the side, grab the other end of the spring with your pliers, and stretch it. Oh no, I hit the camera. Let me try again. Stretch it until you get the spring up into the hole that it goes in. So there we go, we got the spring header on. Perfect. So now we can put the easy start or full start back on. So put it on. And guys, like the easy start, it takes 3 screws like this right here. But the pull start takes the same exact screws. And see how the screws are pre-Loctited? See that blue Loctite? These screws are not supposed to be tightened down real tight. If you tighten them down real tight, it squeezes the pull start and easy start case, or starter case, and it pinches the gears, and it causes stress on the easy start motor, and it'll burn the motor up, or it'll make the pull start harder to pull, and it wears the internal components out. So you're supposed to leave these screws loose, not loose, but you're supposed to just leave them snugged, and that's why they're pre-Loctited from the factory. And if you ain't got Loctite screws, you need to put Loctite on them. And then just snug them up. Do not tighten them. Just screw them down until they're snug. So do that. Okay, now we got all them in. And see, that's right there. It's how they should be, barely sticking out. Okay, now we're going to move on to the flywheel setup. So what you want to do is get your flywheel collet, the split beveled cone, stick on. Then your flywheel. Then your flywheel nut. And go ahead and twist it down as tight as you can get it by hand. Now grab a pair of pliers or a flywheel holder and a 8mm socket, and we're going to tighten this flywheel nut up pretty good. So here I got my special pliers that I got microfiber cloth on it so it don't damage my flywheels. And we're going to tighten this flywheel nut up pretty decently tight. There we go. Okay, moving on to the clutch assembly. Okay, this next part, see these pins right here that the clutch shoes sit on? Tmaxx clutches and flywheels don't come with them, but some aftermarket clutches like this Hot Racing 3-shoe clutch and other clutch and flywheel assemblies, they come with little washers like this right here that goes on the flywheel pins that cushions the clutch shoes. So I got my own. I ordered a bunch. I got a bunch from Harbor Freight. You can get them at Walmart. They're just tiny little washers. And I add my own on, since the Tmaxx ones don't come with them. So we're going to stick one on each pin. Then we're going to get our clutch shoes. Stick them on. And guys, see where that clutch spring meets? See where it's got the two ends with the hooks in the middle on each end? Where the clutch spring meets together? You want that to be on the sides of the clutch shoes. You don't want that where the spring meets. You don't want that to be right there where the clutch shoes meet together, because that's a stress point and that's not correct. You want to turn the clutch spring until where it meets in the middle, it's on the sides. So next, make sure your bearings are in your clutch bell. Make sure your clutch bell is cleaned out. This one is not clean. I need to clean it real quick, so let me clean it. Okay, you can see I just cleaned it. I used brake cleaner and I wiped it out. See all that black material? That's clutch shoe residue. If you don't get that out, it'll make your clutch slip and burn up. So you want to make sure you keep your clutch bell cleaned out pretty regularly, and it'll make your clutch shoes last longer. Because when that slips, it gets hot and it wears them out. Causes the spring to stretch, and then your clutch will go out. It's just a big mess. So then next, after you got the clutch bearings and the clutch bell, you want to put the PTFE washer on, just like the Tmaxx 3.3 or 2.5 takes. Put the PTFE washer on. Then we're going to get our E-clip, stick it on, and we're going to mash it down on there, clip it on there. Oh my goodness, I just lost that one. It just shot across the room. Guys, you got to be careful when you're doing this. You got to have steady hands. Let me try again. Thank goodness I had another one laying here. Okay. Let me try again. There we go. Well, that one's really not good. It's too loose. If you got... Well, it might be okay. No, I don't like that. And see, if you can slide your clutch, if you can slide that E-clip around pretty easily like that, that means it's not good, it's wore out. And it'll eventually fly off, and then your clutch bell will come out. It'll mess your clutch up, it'll strip your spur gear out. So we need to take this E-clip off and find a tighter one. Okay guys, see, I found a better one. See, I'm turning it, but it ain't moving. That's what you want. That is a good E-clip. So, alright guys, now all we got to do is, let's move over to the Tmaxx. So, we get our Tmaxx. Hold on, let me get this oil up before I spill it. so we can get this exhaust out of the way. We can get these wires and harness out of the way for the easy start. Okay. Now guys, what we want to do is, since this is going to be kind of hard, I just realized something. Hold on, let me think about this real quick. Okay, so go back to the engine and you want to loosen, I'm sorry guys, but it's what you got to do. Loosen the easy start or pull start screws. You don't have to do it with the pull start, just the easy start. Loosen them enough to where you can pull the easy start out and tilt it down just enough where it'll expose those 2 screw holes that goes to the engine. Okay, now set your motor down. Now you want to get some Loctite. And instead of putting them on the screws, it's a whole lot easier just to drip it in the screw holes on the engine mount. Okay. Now you want to get one of your engine mount screws and stick it through this yellow glow plug wire. Stick it through just like that and let it sit there. Next, you want to get your other engine mount screws, and the side that's got the exhaust pointing out, you want to go ahead and stick both of them in. And then go over here to the other side that's got the easy start. And you want to, hold on, you want to stick this screw in closest to the clutch bell. Oh, there went my easy start. Get the easy start back up. So you want one screw in that's closest to the clutch bell. This screw is the screw that we put in the yellow glow plug wire. Put the easy start back on and leave it tilted where you can still get to them screws right there. Okay, now we're going to flip the Tmaxx over. And these 2 screws, we're going to loosen them just a little bit. And then below the axle or drive shaft, there's 2 more screws that goes to the engine mount. We're going to barely loosen them too. Now we're going to flip the Tmaxx back over. Now we're going to get our engine, and it's time to set the engine on. But before you set the engine on, grab your motor mount. Make sure you can move it. See how I can move it side to side. You want to move it all the way this way, all the way towards where the exhaust sits. Okay. So now you want to grab your engine and you want to get this yellow glow plug wire and you want to carefully stick it in the hole on the engine. Okay, now that we got the yellow glow plug wire in the hole on the engine, you want to start to raise the engine up. Make sure the easy start is still tilted to the side where you can get you a hex driver down in there to the hole, to the screw. You want to slide your engine into place onto the engine mount, and you want to keep the screwdriver into that screw and then start screwing it down into the engine mount. Then you want to move over to the other one that's right beside it, and you want to you don't want to tighten them yet, just snug them. You want to screw it down, just snug it up, don't tighten it. Now you want to come over to this side and just snug these up. it's easier if you had a ball tip instead of a straight tip. But let me get a ball tip. Well, I'll just go ahead and finish snuggling them up, but I'll get a ball tip to actually tighten them down. Since we're having to tighten the screws at an angle, that way it'll save your hex head driver and it'll save your screws from getting stripped out. So let's get a ball tip screwdriver. And if you're wondering what I'm talking about, see how this hex driver is straight, and see how this one's got a ball tip on the end of it. Get you a ball tip screwdriver. And now we're going to go back to these screws, and we're going to go back over here to the first ones that we started tightening, and we're going to tighten them down all the way. Don't strip your motor engine mount out, because it is weak aluminum. If you tighten it too much, you'll strip your engine mount. Just tighten them up just decently. Now we'll go over to these two. Okay, we got them tightened up. Now, we're going to get our fuel line hooked up. Actually, we need to put the easy start wires on first. So route your easy start wires. We're going to get the black wire. Stick it on. Then we're going to get the red wire, the positive, and we're going to stick it on. Okay. Now we want to get our fuel line, and this is where we're going to get the fuel clamp we talked about. Get the fuel clamp, and we're going to squeeze it all the way down, stick it on the fuel line, and slide it down a little bit. Now we're going to get our fuel line and slide it onto the carburetor fuel inlet. See how it's already wanting to pop off? That's what this fuel clamp's for. Now we're going to get the fuel clamp, and we're going to slide it all the way down. You gotta squeeze it while you slide it down, and try to get it over. It's going to be hard. Try to get it over the fuel inlet right there. So let me do that off camera. Okay, next we're going to grab the throttle linkage, and we're going to hook it up to the throttle. Let me turn around for y'all. Pop it on. Okay, we're done with that. Now we can get our exhaust. Push the exhaust onto the exhaust header. Then slide the exhaust onto the exhaust hanger bracket. And my exhaust pressure line is a little bit too long, so I'm going to trim it a little bit. Now we can tighten our exhaust down onto the exhaust hanger bracket. Okay, so you want to make sure your exhaust is completely hooked up correctly. Now we're going to get our zip ties, and we're going to run through. We're going to run through on each side. Well, let me do it this way. There we go. Go ahead and pull it tight. Oh shoot, I just went too tight and it made it come back off. Gonna have to cut it off and redo it. Gotta get a new zip tie. Okay, so we got both zip ties on the exhaust setup. Now we can put our glow plug wire in. Now what we're going to do is go around to the back of the Tmaxx, and this is where we're going to finally screw the easy start back onto the engine. So you want to wiggle the easy start and get it set back up in alignment where the screw holes are lined up onto the easy start into the engine block. And you're going to go through the back right here with your screwdriver, and you're going to tighten the easy start back down. It's not really the only way to do it. See how I got my screwdriver sticking straight through to the back? And see how it's screwing the easy start screw in? That's what you got to do. Now we'll move on to the bottom one. My hand will quit shaking. I need a ball tip for this. Got that one. Now we just got one more. Let me do it off camera. You get the idea. I had to use a ball tip to get that last easy start screw because it's such a bad angle. So now we're done with the easy start. Now you want to slide the motor all the way over to where the clutch bell is connecting to the spur gear, and you want to set your gear mesh correctly. If you should be able to spin it freely like that, and it shouldn't be making no noises, and it shouldn't be grinding or binding up. It should be spinning freely, but you don't want to set it too loose to where the gear will strip out easy. But once you get it set correctly, you can use the paper method. I just eyeball mine. I never have no problems. But once you get it set correctly, you can flip the Tmaxx over. And tighten the 4 engine mount screws that holds the engine steady, that keeps the gear mesh set correctly, which is these 2 screws and these 2 screws. So go ahead and tighten them down all the way, but don't strip them. We're almost done, guys. Now we can flip the Tmaxx over. Now all we got to do is put the air filter. Before you put the air filter on, go ahead and grab your remote. Got the remote. Turn the remote on. Turn the Tmaxx on. And you want to see if your throttle's set correctly. So look down into the carburetor and see there sits an idle. Now we're opening it. It goes to full throttle, perfectly fine. You need to look, check your linkages right here and right here. Make sure they're not binding up or bowing in and out whenever you apply the throttle. So we got that set correctly. So we're good to put the air filter on. Okay, so we got the air filter on and we're done, guys. That's all there is to it. We got the gear mesh set correctly. We got the engine tightened down. We got the easy start or pull start, whatever you want to use, hooked up. The fuel lines are hooked up. The air filter, the exhaust. We got the clutch bell and clutch assembly and flywheel set up. We're ready to drive, guys. I'm going to be doing a break-in video on this next. So stay tuned and subscribe if you want to see how to break in an engine. Guys, thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for liking my videos. If you want to talk to me or get in touch with me, you can message. I'm sorry, but I can't get YouTube comments because I don't know how to turn them on. I'm a simple guy. I just do simple videos. I'm not even doing this for the money. I don't make no money from YouTube. I don't even have it set up to make money. And I don't know how to do all the fancy YouTube stuff. So guys, if you want to get in touch with me or talk to me, look me up on Facebook. My name is Chris Kenna on Facebook. ChrisKenna. And that's a picture of me and my little girl on bicycles. And you can talk to me on Facebook. I don't always check my Facebook, but I try to quite often. So just bear with me. And yeah, guys, thanks for watching. See you on the next one.